Chess YouTube, this right here is the game of the year, played between Daniel Naroditsky, the speed demon, rest in peace brother, and Vladimir Kramnik, the guy accusing Daniel, and it seems like almost everyone of cheating in online chess these days, and it did take place in the year 2024 on the chess.com servers, and this game includes an attack by Daniel against Vladimir that is so shocking, so devastating. I mean, total destruction does not even begin to describe what happened in this game. All right, let's begin. In the game, Daniel, playing as white, opens 1e4, best by test, and his opponent, Vladimir, does go here, 1c5, the Sicilian defense, the sharpest response to 1e4. From here, we have knight f3, e6, and d4. Daniel playing the open Sicilian in this game. Black takes on d4, c takes, so white takes back, knight takes, and then we have knight f6, knight c3, and knight c6. Vladimir here playing the so-called four knights variation of the Sicilian defense. Now, this line is very, very solid, but also very sharp if white goes for the absolute main line. Now, the main line here is kind of insane. It includes here, taking on c6, black takes back, white goes e5, black goes knight d5, white goes knight e4, and black here has the extra central pawn, but also a massive hole on d6, and it leads to wild, wild complications. Now, instead of all this in the game, Daniel, he plays a simple, quiet sideline. That is the move g3, the fianchetto variation, intending bishop g2, castles, and so on, with more positional chess typically. But as we're going to see, there is nothing positional about this game we have here. All right, black, bishop e7, intending short castling. White does the same, bishop g2, and then we have castles and castles. And the middle game here has begun. What are the plans for both sides? White here is going to try and potentially control the queen side moves like, for example, a4, a5, bishop b3, queen d2, bring the rooks out and so on, or start a massive attack on the king side, maybe intending f4, g4, g5, and so on. We'll have to wait and see which plan he wants to go for in this game. From here, Vladimir, d6, playing solid. All he has to do is simply develop, bring out those queenside pieces, for example, bishop d7, rook c8, and slowly expand on the queenside with a6 and b5, getting counterplay on this side of the board. All right, Daniel, he continues, bishop b3, simple development. Black does the same, bishop d7, and this is where things get a little bit spicy. Daniel, he trades on c6. We have knight takes c6, bishop takes, and then queen to e2, a very aggressive square for that queen, as we are about to see. Now, why is this move so telling? It's very, very simple. If you go here, queen d2, that's also playable. You don't control g4. With the move queen to e2, Daniel maintains control of the g4 square, meaning a g4 advance is still in the cards if he wants it. All right, Vladimir, a6, intending b5, a typical, and I mean as typical as it gets move in the open Sicilian. From here, we have rook a d1, queen to c7, the standard square for that queen in the open Sicilian. And here, this is where things get absolutely insane. Daniel, in this position, if he wants to, he can play solid. He can go, for example, I don't know, a3 and just develop an f4 and slide the queen over and play very, very solid. But instead, he simply goes for it on move 13. It's only move 13. And he plays the move g4. Now, once you play this move, you are all in. There is no turning back. You must attack. And the idea behind this move is very, very simple. White here, intending g5, pushing back this knight, perhaps to d7. From there, you can go, for example, f4, f5, or h4, h5, g6, whatever you want to do. But the main idea is to chuck, and I mean chuck, all of your pawns on the king side, down the board, and checkmate the opponent. Now, it's not that simple. That is basically the idea here. All right, black. What does he do? Rook f to e8 is the move, sliding over with the rook, which is a multi-purpose idea. First of all, setting up the idea of bishop f8, a good defensive move in many lines. Beyond that, if the e-file ever opens up, the rook is active on e8, opposing the white queen on the e2 square. But Daniel is unfazed. He continues the attack. g5 is the move, kicking back that knight off f6. It's got to go somewhere in the game. Vladimir, knight d7 is the move. And now we have f4, gaining space, guarding e5, stopping knight e5 ideas once and for all. And again, Daniel, he is just going for it. Now, the idea here could be, for example, f5, then f6. which if white can get that move in, the f-file here would be opened up. For example, black were to say, waste some moves, and white plays f5 and f6 like this. That would be totally devastating. The f-file would be opened up one way or another, and white would have a big attack. Now, what actually happens in the game? Vladimir here, he goes b5, gaining space like this, pressuring this knight, threatening b4. Daniel, he sees the threat in advance, and he does go here a3, guarding the b4 square. Now, Vladimir, rook a to b8, threatening b4 once again. Now the b4 square being defended indirectly by the rook on b8, and b4 a takes, rook takes would be decent for Vladimir here, as the rook would be quite active on that b4 square. But here, finally, Daniel, he continues. Queen to h5, a very active move, guarding h7, h7 being one of the weakest points in the black camp. Now, how is white going to continue the attack on that square? Typically, if you have, for example, a bishop on d3, it plays itself. But here, there is no bishop there. There is no bishop on this diagonal. Therefore, what is white's idea? Well, white can also go, for example, rook f3, and then rook h3, the rook lift pressuring h7, and that would be very strong. It's actually not so easy to find a good way to defend that square as black. I mean, if you go h6, you take on h6, the attack continues. It's not that simple. All right, Vladimir here, a5 is the move, threatening b4 with this pawn here, and Daniel, bishop d4, threatening yet another weak point in the black camp, this time the pawn on g7. All right, Vladimir, b4 is the move. The knight on c3 is under attack. You may be saying, all right, of course, the knight here has got to go somewhere. Perhaps e2 is the best square. Well, if you thought that, you thought wrong. In this position, Daniel, he plays a move that is so shocking. I mean, the intention of this move is clear. He wants to checkmate the opponent no matter what. He has no respect for Vladimir. He is all in on the attack. And here, in this position, on move 19, he ignores the attack on the knight entirely, and instead, he plays the move f5. Daniel, he goes for it, threatening f6, giving up this knight on c3. He is now effectively all in on the attack. Vladimir, he trades on c3. Now here, this is a massive mistake. You cannot take on c3. That knight was poisoned. Instead, you had to do something about the attack here. Whether it's g6, whether it's taking on f5, something. Let's check the engine right here. What should black be doing here? The move here, turns out, is e5. That is the best one. Blunting this bishop, pushing back the bishop. Then you trade on c3. But Vladimir, he does not find it. He's in too much pressure. And instead, here, after f5, he takes on c3, which is actually a critical mistake. Daniel, he trades on e6. F takes e6 is the move, weakening this very important square in the black camp. If you take back, white can always go, for example, bishop h3 targeting it, or simply queen f7 check, immediately hitting the king, and then checkmate on g7. That would be the idea. For example, f takes, queen f7, king h8, queen g8, and it's checkmate on the spot. Therefore, here, Vladimir, he's got to defend f7 somehow, some way, and he plays the move knight to e5. But this is just the beginning of the attack. Here, Daniel, he trades on f7. E takes f7, check is the move. And once again, the pawn is poisoned. You can't take it. If you take this pawn with the knight, then queen f7, king h8, queen g8, or even bishop takes g7 is then checkmate on the spot. So, Vladimir, what can he do? He slides the king over, king to h8, and you may say, all right, surely right here, Daniel, he captures the free rook on e8. That must be the idea, right? Again, if you thought that, you thought wrong. Here, Daniel, he adds the disrespect with the move g6, threatening checkmate once again on the h7 square. Vladimir, what do you do about this threat? Well, he takes the free pawn, knight takes g6, but Daniel, he's just getting started. Again, he does not take the free rook on e8. Oh no, he wants to humiliate his opponent, and he plays the move rook to d3, the rook lift on the third rank, intending rook to h3, threatening checkmate once again. All right, here, Vladimir, rook b5, attacks the queen, but Daniel, he's ready. Rook to f5 blocks the attack, and if black takes on f5, the pawn takes back with the attack on the knight once again. Here, Vladimir, he takes on b2, c takes b2, threatening the promotion to a queen on b1 on the next move, but it's too little too late. Here, Daniel, he takes on b5, rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes, winning the free piece. But this turns out to be a fatal mistake by Daniel. You should not take on b5 there. That was not the right idea. Instead, right here, the winning idea for white, if you can believe it. I mean, if you like puzzles, pause the video right now and try to find the insane combination right here. Well, there are several moves. You can take on e8. That is playable. You can go rook h3. That is playable. But the strongest line, according to the engine, the checkmate in 14 moves, begins with the move queen takes g6. If you want to find, if you want to solve a tough puzzle, try and solve that one right here. Queen takes g6 in this position, if you can believe it. That is the finishing blow, according to the engine. In this position, Daniel, he does trade on b5. We have rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. But again, this is not the way forward. From here, black, rook f8, defends the rook. Black keeps the rook alive that was hanging all this time. And now queen takes b2, does win the pawn on the b2 square, and rook takes f7. But don't worry, the attack has only just begun. What Daniel has in store, in mind, in this game, for poor old Vladimir, will melt your brain. From here, rook c3, hits the queen on c7. The queen has got to go somewhere. Where do you want to go as black in this position? In the game, queen d8 is chosen, but then bishop to h3. Eyeing e6, hitting the rook. Again, Daniel lining up threat after threat after threat in this game. Vladimir, queen to g8 is the move. Why on earth would Vladimir go queen to g8? That is a great question, Chess YouTube. Here, Daniel, bishop e6 is the move. The pin on the rook and the queen. Vladimir, what on earth did you do? Queen to g8? That has got to be maybe the worst move I've ever seen Vladimir play in his entire chess career. Queen to g8? Are you kidding me? Anyways, bishop e6 with the pin on the rook and the queen. Vladimir here, rook to f1 is the move. That must be the idea, but it's no good. We have king takes, queen takes, and then queen to b7. The queen flies in, threatening rook to c8. Check, hits the king, and maybe wins the game. All right, Vladimir, bishop f8, another very passive move. I mean, look at the difference in the quality of these pieces. The white queen and rook eyeing the back rank, the bishop pressuring g7, and the black pieces. What on earth are they doing? They're passive, defending. They're doing nothing active. And here, rook c8 does happen, flying into the back rank. All right, from here. Oh, by the way, queen takes g7 is now being threatened. That would be mate in one, as the bishop is pinned to the king. For example, if queen g4, queen takes g7 is literally mate on the spot. Vladimir, what do you want to do about the impending attack? He plays the move queen to h3, flying down, hits the king, king d1, queen h4, hits the king, king d1, queen h5, again, king c1, queen h6, king b2. And now, Vladimir, what do you want to do to continue the defense? How do you defend? No, now for now, the queen on h6 does defend at g7, but again, this is just passive defense right here. In this position, Vladimir, king g8 is the move, trying to defend f8 a little bit more with one more piece. But Daniel, he's got everything under control. Queen d5 hits the king. There is no way to block the attack. The king must go to h8. The king slides over, and from here, the finishing blow of the game, queen to f7, threatening checkmate on f8, and there's nothing black can do. No matter what black does, queen, d2, anything else, white simply trades on f8, maybe even the disrespect move, queen takes f8, knight takes, rook takes, and it would be checkmate on the spot. And for that reason, right here, in this position, after queen to f7, in this game of the year, played between Daniel and Vladimir, Vladimir is forced to resign on the spot and concede defeat. All right, Chess YouTube, what a game. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please show me some love, smash that like button, and comment down below. What did you think of this game? I mean, are you a Daniel fan? Are you a Vladimir fan? I'm sure there must be some Vladimir fans out there. I mean, it's hard to be a fan of the guy these days, but maybe there are. I mean, if you are, feel free to comment, or if you want justice for Daniel, whatever it is, comment down below as well. Either way, a fantastic game here by Daniel and Vladimir. I mean, having, I gotta say, one of the worst moves I've ever seen in the history of the game. Queen to g8. Vladimir playing a move that, I mean, I just cannot for the life of me understand. Falling right into the idea of Daniel. And wow, what a game. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video and enjoyed my commentary style and you want to learn directly from me how to improve online chess, I do have a free online chess community. It is drmikechess.com. Links right above and down below in the pinned comment and the description. When you get there, I have free courses for you, free group coaching, free community, free opening courses on a variety of openings, everything you could need, really, to improve online chess these days. A very deep tactics course. Again, everything you could want is there. I'm building it out in real time as we speak right now, but it is a fantastic resource. We've got a ton of people leveling up right now and gaining even hundreds of ELO points in a single month in just 30 days upon joining. So if you want to join it, it's free to join. I'll see you there. And by the way, also, if you want to collaborate with me on YouTube ideas, YouTube videos, if you're a chess influencer, or if you want to help me blow up my online chess brand, including my Skool community on Skool.com. If any of those things interest you, the second link down below, drmikechess.com/collaborate. Go there. I have instructions for how to collaborate with me, how to reach out to me, and so on. Very, very simple. So either way, I'd love to have you in the community, and I'll see you in the next video.